It all began in Fort Collins, Colorado, a place where the mountains feel close enough to touch, and the sunsets look like they were painted by God Himself. Two little girls grew up there. They had a dad named Doug, a man who was both brilliant and bold, a self-made businessman who had built success with his own two hands. He wasn't religious. He didn't pray, didn't talk about church, didn't even like the idea of it. Doug was logical, driven. He believed in systems, discipline, and hard work. If something needed fixing, you didn't pray about it. You figured it out. That was life in the Vandergraph house. Until one ordinary evening, everything changed. Doug walked into the living room one night and found his two daughters huddled together on the couch, watching YouTube. He frowned a little. "Why are you watching that stuff?" His oldest daughter laughed. "Dad, these people are awesome." Doug watched for a minute. Young influencers talking about their lives, their goals, their dreams. He shook his head. "Anybody can do that," he said. The girls exchanged amused looks. "No, Dad," the youngest said. "These people are millionaires. They have writers, editors. This is a big business." Doug leaned forward, confidence flashing in his eyes. "Anybody can do it," he said again. "All you need to do is show up every single day." That moment, half challenge, half curiosity, was the spark that lit the fuse. The next day, Doug went downstairs to a bedroom that the family rarely used. He cleared off a small desk, plugged in a lamp, and opened his laptop. Then, with that same determination that had built his businesses, he went on Amazon and ordered a $65 camera that came with a YouTube starter kit. That simple purchase would change his life forever. He still uses that same camera with the YouTube starter kit today. Doug hit record for the first time and started talking, not about religion and not about faith, but about success. About how people could live better, work smarter, and become stronger fathers and mothers. He spoke from experience, from struggle, from the grit of real life. And people listened. Within months, he had 200,000 subscribers. He was taking well-known self-help books, breaking them down chapter by chapter, and explaining them in ways everyday people could understand. He made wisdom practical. He made growth accessible. He helped people believe in themselves again. Then one day, someone left a comment that would change everything. "I really like what you're doing with these books," the person wrote. "But how about the New Testament? How about the Bible?" Well, Doug scoffed when he read it. The Bible, he thought? "I'm an atheist. I never really read the Bible. I don't know much about it." But the comments kept coming. Others chimed in. "Yes, you should explain the Bible the way you explain these other books." He laughed it off at first, but something inside of him would not let this go. He thought, "All right, fine. We'll start with the first chapter and we'll see where this goes." Doug began reading the New Testament, one chapter a day. At first, he didn't understand it. It felt foreign, distant. But day after day, he kept showing up. He would read a chapter, study it, write down what he thought it meant, and then record his explanation for the world to see. Something strange started happening. The more he read, the more it made sense. The more he explained, the more alive it became. He wasn't just reading words anymore. He was being spoken to. And over 290 days, Doug went through the entire New Testament, every word, every chapter. And when people ask him how he understood it so clearly, he would smile and say, "I don't really know. I just showed up every day, and God did the rest." By the end of that year, something inside Doug had completely changed. The man who once believed in nothing now believed in everything that truly mattered. The businessman had become a believer. The teacher had become a messenger. The atheist had become a pastor in purpose, even if not in title. And the world noticed. His audience grew by hundreds of thousands. 382,000 new subscribers joined his channel. Now, with 582,000 subscribers, Doug has become one of the most influential Christian voices on YouTube. Not because he has sought fame, but because he has sought truth. And it all began with one moment. A father walking into a room and saying, "Anybody can do that." You see, his daughters often joke that they accidentally made their dad a pastor, but they know better. They saw it happen. They saw their father go from success-driven to spirit-led, from man-made ambition to God-given mission. And one night, as they watched one of his new videos together, the youngest said softly, "Maybe he's just trying to set an example." Her sister smiled. "Yeah, just like our father did. Because that's what God does. He sets the example." He took his son Jesus and sent him into the world, not to preach from power, but to lead through love, to show us that humility can change hearts, that faith can move mountains, that one voice, one faithful act of obedience can reach the world. Doug was following that very same pattern. Every video wasn't just content. It was a conversation between a once doubting man and a now undeniable God. So, how does a man become a pastor without ever planning to? How does a businessman become a believer without a pulpit, without a church, without even realizing what's happening? He simply shows up every single day. He listens, he learns, and he lets God speak through him. Because faith doesn't start with a sermon. It starts with a step. And sometimes that step looks as simple as pressing record. To anyone who's listening right now, maybe you're like Doug once was. Successful, driven, focused, but spiritually empty. You've built your life, but something still feels missing. Doug didn't find faith in a church pew. He found it in a camera lens and in the quiet space of obedience. He started out trying to teach the world how to succeed, and God taught him how to believe. Now, because of one father's curiosity, two daughters' faith, and a $65 Sony camera, millions have heard the gospel. That's what God does. He takes the ordinary and makes it eternal. So when people ask, how did Doug become a pastor? The answer is simple. I just showed up, and God showed the world what happens when someone does just that, shows up every single day. God bless you, my friends.